Prosecutors did not overlook a crash on I-25 that killed a woman last year. Now, months later, the driver who allegedly caused the wreck is charged.
And a worker died in a trench collapse right after Christmas. Now the Labor Department is going after his employer.
Plenty of concerns about being aired about artificial intelligence right now, but CSU says its new AI technology can really make a difference in climate change.
There's a driver being sued for a deadly crash that killed a mom. That driver is now also facing charges in that death. The driver was towing a large excavator on I-25 in Weld County. That's when the excavator hit an overpass. And
large pieces of concrete fell on the road, hitting and killing a young mom. 9 News crime and justice reporter Matt Jablow is following the story and joins us with details on the new charges. Matt.
Kim, it took several months, but felony charges have now been brought against the truck driver accused of causing a crash that killed 32-year-old Megan Arneson. The crash happened last August on I-25 in Weld County. The truck driver, Darnell Yingling, was pulling an excavator at the time. When the truck went under an overpass, the excavator's arm hit the overpass's concrete crossbeams, sending large pieces of debris onto Arneson's SUV. Arneson died. Her 10-year-old son, who was also in the car, was injured. The Weld County DA has now charged Yingling with 4 criminal counts, including vehicular homicide. 9 News legal analyst Scott Robinson says that is likely the most serious charge that could have been brought in this case.
Typically, an accident that sounds more like carelessness is not charged as vehicular homicide. So there must be significant evidence that the driver consciously disregarded a substantial risk of harm to others in the way that he either secured the load or the way that he chose to drive where there wasn't enough room to get under the overpass.
If convicted of vehicular homicide, Yingling faces up to 12 years in prison. He's also been charged with criminally negligent homicide and reckless driving. He's due back in court on June 2nd. Soon after she was killed, Arneson's family sued Yingling and the towing company he worked for. The lawsuit says Yingling and the company were reckless and negligent for not making sure the excavator was properly secured. That lawsuit is still ongoing. Kim and Tom.
A terrible case. We'll follow it through. All right. Thank you, Matt.
A hearing is set for July that will determine whether there's enough evidence in the deadly rock-throwing case to go to trial. 3 teenagers, Mitch, Carol, Chick, Zachary Quack, and Joe Koenig, face murder charges. Police say they threw landscaping rocks at least 7 passing vehicles last month. One of the rocks killed 20-year-old Alexa Bartel. The hearing is set for July. Boulder County authorities arrested 2 people for a drive-by shooting that hurt 2 teenagers last month. Deputies say a 17-year-old and an 18-year-old were standing by their car near the Crown Rock trailhead on Flagstaff Road last Saturday morning when someone in a passing car fired shots at them. Both victims are expected to recover from their injuries. Boulder County authorities say 21-year-old Jafet Hernandez Gonzalez and an unnamed 17-year-old are behind the shooting. But investigators add that more charges are expected because other people were there during the shooting. They did not say how many suspects might know the victims or give any details on a motive.
Denver police are asking gun owners to lock up their weapons. That's because gun thefts are on the rise. Just in the first 5 months of this year, thieves have stolen 261 firearms. That's just out of vehicles in Denver. During that same time frame a year ago, the number was down at 245, a 6.5% increase. Oftentimes, police say those stolen guns are then used in crimes. The U.S. Labor Department is fining a company in Brighton for a trench collapse that killed a man back in December. The OSHA report says that a 23-year-old employee of a Coronado excavation company was installing pipes outside of a home in Aurora when an unprotected 12-foot trench collapsed, killing him. OSHA investigators say they found that Coronado Excavation did not provide trench protection. They also had not trained workers on trenching or excavation hazards. The company faces $112,000 in proposed fines.
Colorado senators are calling out the Trump administration's decision to move Space Command from Colorado Springs to Alabama. Late this morning on the Senate floor, Democratic Senator John Hickenlooper said moving Space Command would undermine national security.
Moving headquarters requires that we build new facilities, install secure communications infrastructure, and relocate or rehire our existing workforce. Congress has never received an estimate for how much this would cost, even before factoring in the impact on national security. That's neither efficient nor strategic.
Senator Hickenlooper said Space Command is close to reaching full operational capacity. Moving Space Command to Alabama could delay that. Former President Trump made the decision in his final days in office. NBC News reported this week the White House may delay the move in part because of Alabama's law banning most abortions.
10,000. That's how many migrants have come to Denver just since December, and most of them have moved on to other cities and states. But there are nearly 1,200 in shelters throughout Denver tonight. The vast majority of them are being supported in non-city facilities. While hundreds were arriving each day last week, the daily number has slowed down.
Mortgage rates are still on the way up, and the continued rise is taking a toll on demand for new homes. But that isn't the only thing causing a drop in sales. There's also a severe shortage of homes across the country, including here in Denver. That's been that way for a while. The Mortgage Bankers Association says volume this year is 26% lower than a year ago. Right now, the 30-year fixed rate stands at 6.57%, the highest rate in 2 months. The IRS will be launching a limited free tax filing pilot program next year. The agency will make it available to some taxpayers to help officials decide if it'll be worth doing for everyone. The IRS will use money from the Inflation Reduction Act to pay for it. However, not everyone's on board. Some Republicans argue the plan would give the IRS even more power over ordinary taxpayers. Tax companies like H&R Block and TurboTax are lobbying against it.
If you have a Google account, but it's one you haven't logged into in a while, you might want to do so as soon as possible, because Google today said it's going to start deleting accounts that have been inactive for 2 years. Google saying it's trying to cut down on security risks. That policy will take effect immediately, but accounts won't start to be deleted until December, so you have some time. They also say they will be sending out several warnings to users before deletion. So if you want to save your account, you need to show some sort of activity, like logging into your Google account or any of the Google services, and reading an email or watching a video. They say that policy will only impact personal accounts. A heads up for light rail commuters next week. RTD says they're going to have to close 4 stations. The D, E, and H lines need overhead wire maintenance. So the Alameda, I-25 Broadway, Evans, and Louisiana Pearl stations are going to close next week from Tuesday through Thursday. They also say there won't be any bus shuttle services offered. Regular light rail service is expected to be resuming on Friday.
Plenty of efforts to slow climate change right now. CSU has its own plan, and the key is artificial intelligence.
If you're ready to get out and do some fishing, we've got the place for you. You can catch as many fish as you want there right now.